Good evening. My name is Lily Wei, and I live in Clifton Park. Um, I am of Chinese descent, so I came from China, and I would just like to share some of my experiences and observations of what's happening in the U.S. I'm originally from China. Like all immigrants, we fled communist China to the USA for its freedom and prosperity. Like most immigrants, we were able to live the American dream within one generation. Communism brought Chinese people unprecedented poverty, misery, and suffering for decades. It began in 1966 with the Cultural Revolution. Citizens were made to hate and persecute one another. Mao used political class to purge his political enemies: landowners versus farmers, intellectuals versus blue collars, students versus teachers, children versus parents. They toppled down statues, burned churches, temples, books, and cultural relics, persecuted anyone who didn't share Mao's ideology. My own mother's high school principal was beaten to death in 1966 by her own students at an all-girls school. In many cases, students would turn on their own parents and report their disloyalty to Mao to authorities, which led to persecution and imprisonment. Countless people committed suicide. All the destruction and misery were justified by social justice for the common good. Sounds crazy in a civilized society. I never understood how the entire population could be silent watching their country go down in flames. How Mao could have had such an iron grip to remain in power until his death. I never understood until now, because that is what I'm witnessing in America, the beginning of a cultural revolution. Human nature is the same everywhere. The most effective tactic for control is to instill fear, divide, and conquer. Black versus white, man versus woman, mask versus no mask, vaccine versus no vaccine, cancel culture, division, indoctrination, censorship, all rampant in the USA and leading down an irreversible path of self-destruction. Like the Chinese Cultural Revolution, Americans are afraid to speak their minds, so they comply in fear of retaliation. It is the collective fear that allowed the Nazis and dictators like Pol Pot, Mao, Kim Jong-un to thrive. Schools have mandated that all staff be vaccinated. Will students be next? Why do those with antibodies need to be vaccinated? Children are the least affected by COVID, yet they're made to be masked all day, every day, breathing in unhealthy levels of CO2 and not be able to socialize as children should. Vaccine mandate violates the most fundamental human right. Even China isn't mandating it. Just last year, 83 federal government employees went to work for Pfizer as full-time lobbyists, and they tell us this is about health and safety and not about control and money. With mass population in the US vaccinated, why are the restrictions getting even tighter? In no time in history has a government ever voluntarily given back freedoms. You can vote your way into communism, you cannot vote your way out.
We're up 2 to 3 minutes.
Just literally 2 minutes, please. I worry because I see indoctrinated students without a clue the evils of communism and claims to be oppressed under such privileged life. They cheer on the censorship implemented by big tech, not knowing that if they censor one, they can censor all. They raise their fist in support of social justice, thinking they are the resistance, not knowing they're simply chanting the same rhetoric as most major institutions. In fact, they bear uncanny similarities with Mao's Red Guards. The formula to communist success is to amplify the voice of a few while suppressing the voice of the rest, preaching heaven while delivering hell. There has been an unrelenting force to undermine traditional Christian values for decades now. LGBTQ movement, open borders, gender equality, breaking down the family structure, critical race theory, gender pronouns, causing confusion, division, and chaos among youths, leading to a weak and easily controlled society. Notice these are all being pushed in the name of compassion and diversity, yet our communities are not beneficiaries, only the establishment is. I am here because I cherish the opportunities in America that nowhere else would offer. I cherish the generosity and kindness of Americans. Most of all, I cherish the freedom to think and express oneself, a right not to be taken for granted in any time in human history. It's what propelled America to unprecedented innovations, advancement, and standard of living. I hope and pray that students get a quality education at the schools, build character and courage, learn values and principles of hard work, and evaluated based on meritocracy. Parents are counting on staff empowered to shape their children and their future in the right direction, and be a moral compass in a time of sweeping changes and uncertainty. Thank you.